I've got quite the background today until one of my kids was playing here. All right. Is it just me, or does it not feel like 7 o'clock yet? It's that daylight savings time is tricky for me to adjust to when we do the spring forward. But we're here this morning, and I put on the schedule that we would do a high intensity interval practice today. So are you ready for that? I'm going to pull up my timer. And while I'm doing that, just sit and connect with your breath. We'll do a little bit of a flow to warm up, and then we will do just some Tabata intervals, and we'll do 3 sets. So we'll do 2 movements in each of them, 20 seconds on, 10 seconds off, and we'll go through 8 rounds. So each of those exercises 4 times back and forth. And then we'll rest for a minute, and then we'll switch to another 2 movements and do that for 4 minutes back and forth, rest for a minute, and then do 1 more set. So we'll do 3. Okay. And it has been a year since we've been doing these practices together on Zoom here. And we've been showing up every week. It's pretty crazy that it's been a year. And I'm just really grateful that I have people to teach and that we can practice together and connect, even though we live far apart. It's really been a nice anchor for me during the pandemic. So I just want to thank you all, whether you come live or whether you come later and do the videos. I feel like I've really grown as a teacher during this time, and it's been so nice to be consistent and to have my own people. I really do love you all so much. And at the beginning, I was often pulling from this book, When Things Fall Apart by Pema Chodron, who is a Buddhist nun. So I just pulled this book off of my shelf today and it opened to a random page. And I'm just going to read from her. She says, when we feel squeezed, there's a tendency for mind to become small. We feel miserable, like a victim, like a pathetic, hopeless case. So believe it or not, at that moment of hassle or bewilderment or embarrassment, our minds could become bigger. Instead of taking what's occurred as a statement of personal weakness or someone else's power, instead of feeling we are stupid or someone else is unkind, we could drop all the complaints about ourselves and others. We could be there, feeling off guard, not knowing what to do, just hanging out there with the raw and tender energy of the moment. This is the place where we begin to learn the meaning behind the concepts and words. So how do we relate to that squeeze? Somehow, someone finally needs to encourage us to be inquisitive about the unknown territory and about the unanswerable question of what's going to happen next. Right there in the uncertainty of everyday chaos is our own wisdom mind. And I've been reading out loud, and There Was Light by Jacques Hussein. And I've talked about him numerous times, but last night we read about him being taken to the concentration camp at Buchenwald. And he was put in the invalids barracks. And in most of the barracks, they had 300 people crammed in, and in the invalids barracks, they had 1,500. And he was blind, like he was always having whatever meager food was given him stolen from him. And he ended up getting very, very, very sick and was taken to the hospital ward, where they didn't really treat anyone. They just kind of left them there to either miraculously get better on their own or die. And he talks about how he was able to go to a place where he just watched his body. He watched the pain, and he knew that he didn't know what was going to happen. But he could tell that there was a part of him that was connected to Christ, that was steeped in divine light. And even though he wasn't really fed, they were given like a quarter rations there in the hospital. He recovered. And he talks about the transformation when he just let go into that place of surrender and let himself just reside in that place of light, that there was still a sense of joy in him. And he said he was completely changed when he healed from being sick. He was skin and bones, but he had this light and wisdom, and that he was just taken all over the camp to comfort people because of his light. And it was that surrender to the unknown and willingness just to experience what was happening without resisting or fighting that was able to change him, and knowing that he was connected with the divine. I just find that so amazing and powerful to read about his experience, but know that often we're just fighting and resisting. So as we go through our practice today, I know I'm talking a lot this morning. Let's play with that surrender, the willingness to experience what it is that we're experiencing in the moment, and just doing what's required. Let's find a little bit of movement as we're seated. Just inhale and reach your arms high. And then exhale. Just sweep them back down. Really let this be exaggerated, stretching your fingers out as far apart from each other as you can, and then reaching them up toward the ceiling as much as you can. And then slowly bringing them down. Just feeling that stretch through your chest, that awakening through your arms, connecting this with your breath. And just do one more sweeping breath like that here. And then we'll change up our arm movements. Bring your hand to your heart. Take a breath in there. And then as you exhale, reach your fingers forward, your arms straight forward, round your spine, tuck your chin. And then inhale to open wide like bird wings. It's called robin's breath. Exhale, hands back forward, dive forward. And then on your next inhale, bring your hands back into your heart. And we'll just move there. Exhale. And inhale to expand. Dive back forward. Inhale, hands to heart. One more round there. Diving forward, really stretching between your shoulder blades. You can tuck your tailbone underneath you even. And then open wide. Find an open heart. You can extend through your whole spine. Dive back forward. And then hands to your heart. Rock forward onto hands and knees. And just continue into that movement of your spine. I'm finding some cat and cow here. And in our Tabata movements, we'll be doing some things on our hands. So let's do a little bit of wrist prep. Next time you exhale, just stretch your hips back towards your heels and flex through your wrists. Lift your hands up off the floor. So wrists are down, but you flex there. And then rock yourself back forward and lift your palms so the forefingers stay on the floor. And just go back and forth there from your child's pose with your hands lifted to your table with your palms lifted. And so flex at your wrists here. And then extend through your wrists and stretch your hands. And we'll do one more thing here. As your hips come back, just walk your hands back to kneeling. Reach your arms out in front of you and make fists. And then turn your fists to face the floor. Spread your shoulder blades apart, protract your shoulder blades, really reach your arms forward, and then draw your upper arm bones in, shoulder blades protract. And do that a few times. Protract your shoulder blades, retract your shoulder blades, and then find kind of a neutral place and just steer your wrists in circles. So first, kind of pronate toward each other, and then you can flex through your wrists. So point your knuckles toward the floor, and then bring them out toward the pinky edge and lift up to flex. So try to keep your arms as still as possible and just move through your wrists and keep your fists fisted. And then switch directions. Moving pretty slow, trying to keep your forearms from rotating as you're just doing this at your wrists. And then stop with these really tightly fisted hands, flex down as much as you can. And then extend. I guess this is flexion here. And then this is extension, knuckles toward the floor. And then reach. And spread your fingers, point them up toward the ceiling. And so let those hands curl open and then bring them into a fist and steer your knuckles toward the floor. Do that one more time. You can feel that in your forearms. And then shake it out. Just shake it out. And make your way up to standing. Take your feet a little wider than hip distance apart. And take a breath in, reach your arms high. And then exhale to sit back into a chair, hands into your heart. Inhale, reach high, arms out to a T and come halfway forward. Inhale, reach arms forward alongside your ears, and then exhale, soften your knees and bring your hands to the floor. Plant your right fingertips down. You can bend into your right knee and inhale, lift your left arm up into a twist. And then just switch that twist. Left fingertips down, bend into your left knee, reach your right arm up. And then come down. Roll yourself all the way up to standing. Reach tall. And then interlace your fingers at the top. Just let your pointer fingers point up. And then exhale, side bend to your right. Come through center. Side bend to your left. Come through center. And sit back in your chair. Let's move with our breath, and we can go a little faster through that. Inhale, reach high. Arms out to a T. Exhale, halfway forward. Inhale, arms alongside your ears. Exhale, bend your knees to fold. Inhale, left arm up into your twist. You can bend through that right knee. Exhale, left fingertips down. Inhale, right arm up. Twist, bending through that left knee and down. Roll yourself up to standing, reach high. Interlace your fingers, pointers point away. Exhale, side bend to your right. Through center, side bend to your left. And through center. Exhale, sit back into your chair. Inhale, reach high. Exhale, arms to a T, halfway forward. Inhale, arms forward. Exhale, soften your knees and fold. Bend into that right knee. Inhale, left arm up. Exhale, fold. Bend into your left knee. Right arm up. Exhale, fold. Now this time, let's step our left foot back into a low lunge. So your hands are down inside of that right foot. You can bring your left knee down and just find some circles of your hips here. And find a little bit of openness there. Inhale and come upright. Reach your arms high. Exhale, hands back down to the floor inside that right foot. Lift your back knee. Step back up to the top of your mat. And then step your right foot back. And find your lunge on the other side. Right knee down, and you can just shift your hips around. Just kind of to explore here. And ground through your every part connected with the floor, and then reach your arms high. Just sweep arms up. Exhale, hands down. Lift that back knee. Step forward. Roll yourself all the way up to standing. Reach high. Interlace those fingers. Side bend over to your right. Come through center. Side bend over to your left. Go through that one more time in a similar way. Hands to heart, sit back in your prayer. Reach high, arms out to a T. Come halfway down, flat back. Inhale, reach forward. Exhale and fold. Just step your left foot back into your lunge and swivel yourself around. You can keep your knee lifted this time or ground it. And then if it's lifted, bring your knee to the floor. Ground down into that left hand. Reach your right arm up into a twist here and maybe bend your left knee. You could reach back with your right hand. Stretch through that quad. And then release. Bend and straighten that front leg. So I've got my hands down inside of that right foot. Walk your hands anywhere that you need to. We're still pretty cool, our muscles. And early in the morning, so your hamstrings may feel tight. Lift your back knee, and we'll just step forward and switch sides. Right foot back. And you could keep your knee lifted to move your hips around here this time. And then ground your knee, ground your right hand. Find a big open twist. You can stay here. You can bend through that right knee, maybe reach back with your left hand. Stretch through the front of that right leg, your quad there. Draw your shoulder blades together on your back. And then release that left hand back down inside of that left foot, and then bend and straighten your left leg. Walk your hands with you as much as you need to. So this is happening. You'll get a little bit of a stretch in your lower back, but let it be primarily in the back of your leg. So you're keeping integrity through your spine. And then plant your hands. Step back into a downward facing dog. Stretch there. You can drop your heels toward the floor. Lengthen through your outer armpits, soften your lower ribs in. Come on to your tippy toes and take a walk to the top of your mat. Inhale, halfway lift there. And exhale to fold. Inhale all the way to standing. Reach high. Exhale, hands to your heart, and we'll start our 3 Tabatas. So we'll be working here, getting our heart rates up for about 15 minutes. It'll be 14 minutes altogether. So let me show you first our first 2 moves. We'll start in a chair, and then we'll step. We'll leave our right foot forward and then just step our left foot back into a lunge and then step it back forward. So that's all we're doing. We're just stepping back and forth in this lunge to a chair. That's our first move. And then our second move is we'll just do jumping jacks. So either straight arm jumping jacks or you can do squat jacks. Okay, so those are our first 2 moves in this first set. So go ahead and get ready. We can sit in our chair. You can have your hands at your heart, hands lifted, and just step back with your left foot and then just float it back, and it'll just kind of tap forward. So you'll feel pretty strong through that right leg. And this won't necessarily get your heart rate up super high, but you'll feel the work. And then go ahead and pause. Turn to the long edge of your mat. Get ready for your jumping jacks. And I'll just do straight leg ones first. So just jump for 20 seconds. That's all we're doing. And if you don't want to jump, you can certainly just tap. And then we'll switch sides for our chair. Get ready to sit in your chair. And this time, step with your your right leg back and keeping your left foot forward. Grounding through that left heel, it's kind of your anchor point as you step that right foot back and forward. And then pause for 10 seconds. Make your way to your jumping jacks. And you can I'll do another set of straight. Pretty simple, but just let your breath really come in and out of your nose. Let yourself feel alive. Right foot will stay grounded in our chair to lunge. And just step your left foot back and then forward. Left foot back and then forward. And just go at your own pace. If you want to go really fast, you totally can. I just don't tend to do anything very fast. Go ahead and pause. I'm going to try to do squat jacks this time. So sitting down in a chair and opening and closing with bent knees. And just keep connected to your breath. And now, left side again. Sit down in your chair. Right leg back. and forward. Arms are up, you'll have a little more work. All right, get ready. I might have gotten mixed up with my right and left for my step backs. You go any kind of jacks you want. And even yourself out. I must have done my right leg 2 times in a row. So I'm going to go back to my left. Oh, never mind. That was it. That was the end of that one. So now we have a minute of rest while I show you what we're going to do. Start on your hands and knees, and we'll find a beast. So knees up off the floor, and we'll do shoulder taps. So that'll be a core move there. And then we'll go to a forearm plank, and you can hold it, or you can jack your feet in your forearm plank. So those will be our next 2 moves that we do here. So we've got a few more seconds left in our minute between sets. So let your breath, you can keep moving if you like to through the rest period. But here we go, we're gonna start. Plant your hands, have your knees up off the floor, and just alternate shoulder taps. So keep your knees hovering like 1 to 2 inches. And try to keep your body as still as possible as you shift your weight. And then rest. Get ready for that forearm plank. Bring your forearms to the floor. Step yourself back. And you can just hold it or hop your feet wide and hop your feet together. Or you can just tap 1 foot out and then the other foot out. So find any amount of movement here. And make your way to rest. Just for 10 seconds. Goes by fast. Set yourself up for your beast. And find your shoulder taps. So your knees are hovering up off the floor. Your toes are tucked. Trying to keep your pelvis steady as you shift your weight from one hand to the other. And then pause. And get yourself ready for that forearm plank. You can hold it. You can have your knees down. You can step out, or you can hop out. And it's only for 20 seconds. And pause. Collect your breath. Set up for your beast. And find your shoulder taps. And pause here. I'm going to find downward facing dog. Briefly, find your forearm plank. Hold or jack. Ugh. Pause. Those are hard, for me at least. Okay, find your beast and your shoulder taps. Our quads are going to be really tired. This beast is hard on your quads. And then finding that forearm plank. All right. It's our last time going through our plank jacks. So set yourself up. Either hop it or tap it or hold it. Breathe. You can do it. You only have a few seconds. All right. The end of that one. Our next one, while we're waiting for a minute, I'll show you. So we'll find a pigeon, but really make sure your front shin is all the way on the floor. Your back knee is grounded, but it's a shorter pigeon than normal. You'll come upright and lean partway forward and come on up. So we're doing some strengthening of our glute med. So, and then we'll switch sides the next time. Then our other one is any kind of a burpee. So standing to plank and back to standing. So you can jump it. You can add a push-up. Do whatever will feel challenging but doable. And start with your pigeon. Starting with my right shin down, hands at your hips. I like to keep my back toes tucked so that I'm stable. So I'm up pretty high, just leaning there. And pause. Maybe make your way through a downward facing dog. Come to standing at the top of your mat. Reach high, fold forward, make yourself way to a plank, and then come back up. You can step back. You can hop back. You could jump at the top. And we're done with those. Okay, left shin down this time. Sneak that right knee back, tuck those right toes, come upright, and then fold and come back up. And slow down your breath and see if you can inhale in and out of your nose or just inhale and exhale. And we're done. Make your way to the top of your mat. Get ready for those burpees. And reach high, fold forward, step or hop to your plank. Maybe hop at the top. And you may go faster than me. Like I said, I am not fast. And we're done. Okay, right shin again. Down into our active pigeon. Tuck those back toes. Upright and then lean forward. And use this as a time to really collect your breath. And we're done. Get ready for your burpees. Reach high, fold forward, step back and step forward, or you can jump. Whatever gets your heart rate up. All right, left shin down. It's our last time with our pigeon. Come upright and lean partway forward.
Really push your front shin into the floor. And you don't have to fold far, just as far as you can with control. All right. See if you can step it up. Last 20 seconds of burpees. Maybe find some jumps. Maybe add a push-up in. And done. Find a place to collect yourself. Child's pose. Downward facing dog. And feel your breath. Inhale onto your tippy toes. Exhale to the top of your mat. And we'll move just with our breath. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale to standing. Reach high. Exhale, hands to your heart. Inhale, reach high. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, left foot back. Exhale, left knee down. Inhale, sweep your arms up. Grab a hold of that left forearm with your right hand. Side bend to your right. Enjoy that stretch there as you breathe. Come back through center. Twist, left arm forward, right arm back. And then pour this left hand toward the floor. Reach your right arm high. Maybe bend your left knee. Reach back with your right hand. Stretch your quads here. And then release. Frame your front foot with your hands. Step back into table or plank. Lower yourself all the way to the floor. When you get there, press the tops of your feet down. Hover your hands up off the floor. Draw your shoulder blades together. Keep that activity on the back body. Plant your hands down. Inhale up for a cobra. And pause here. So let this be lengthening out of your lower back. Take one more breath. And then come through table and push back into a puppy pose. So hips high. Slide your hands forward. Forehead or chin to the mat. And then walk your hands back towards your knees and come to an upright kneel. We'll just do some shoulder cars. So lead with your left hand. Try to keep your ribs forward. Push that left thumb back as far as you can. When you can't anymore, you can lead with your pinky and come around. Just slow and controlled. And just go back and forth. One more time on that side. And then switch. Right hand, maybe hold your ribs. Lead with your thumb until you can't anymore. Lead with your pinky. Lead with your thumb. And then lead with your pinky. This last time. Around. Tuck your toes. Sit back on your heels. Interlace your fingers. Push your palms away. And then reach high here. Try to keep your low ribs dropped down. So just kind of come to that place of resistance as high as your arms want to go. They don't have to come super high. Just letting your arms move independently of your rib cage. And then release your hands down. Walk into table. And then find a downward facing dog. Breathe there. Inhale onto your tippy toes. Exhale with soft knees. Walk to the top of your mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale all the way to standing, reach high. Exhale, hands to your heart. Inhale, reach high. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Right foot steps back into your lunge. Right knee down. And then sweep your arms high. Just pause there for an exhale. And then grab a hold of that right forearm with your left hand. Side bend over to your left. And then come back up through center. Right arm forward, left arm back. Big open twist. And then pour your left hand toward the floor. Reach that right arm up. And stay there, or you could bend your right knee. Maybe reach for that right foot. You could angle your left toes out to the left a little bit. Draw your shoulder blades together. And then unwind. Frame your front foot with your hands. Step back to table or plank. Lower all the way to your belly. And this time, float your hands up off the floor and lift both legs. Open your legs as wide as your mat. Bring them back together. And then lower everything back down. Lift your head and chest. Float your hands. Draw your legs up. Open them wide. Close them. And lower. Do that one more time. Lift. Open wide. Close your legs. Lower. Plant your hands. Draw your shoulder blades together. And find a cobra that you can hold. So broadening through your collarbones. Pushing through the tops of your feet. Inner thighs reach toward the ceiling. And then exhale. Lift your hips, stack them above your knees. Creep your hands forward, find your puppy. Chin or forehead to the floor, or it can hover. Just stretching long through your outer armpits. And then walk your hands back toward your knees. Come to that standing kneel. We'll just do our shoulder cars again. So I'm going to start with my right arm this time. Just big circles. Go both directions. Really exploring, kind of excavating all the space that you have in that circular joint. And switch sides. Using all of the muscles as you move slowly. Here. And then tuck your toes. Sit back. Open your arms to a cactus and then cross right elbow underneath. Give yourself a hug or wrap into eagle arms, shoulders out of your ears. Breathe there. And then unwind. You can come upright if your toes need a break. Left elbow underneath. You can give yourself a big hug or wrap around. Unwind. And we'll make our way to downward facing dog. Pedal out there. Your heart rate's probably back down. My face is dripping sweat. Wish I had brought a towel with me. And really let this stretch feel juicy and good. So move in any way, any subtle adjustments that you need here. Right? Just surrendering to what is happening now. Inhale onto your tippy toes, look forward. Soften your knees, make your way to the top of your mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale to fold. And then bend into your knees and come into a chair pose. So my feet are about sitting bone distance apart, knees tracking straight over toes. Just sit here in your chair. We'll twist to the right, so you can bring your left hand outside that right knee and kind of resist your knee into your hand into your knee, and bring your right hand to your sacrum. Stay there. Or you can hook your left elbow outside your right knee and bring your hands together. Maybe drop your seat a little lower. And then look down at your right toes wherever you are with your arms. Ground down into that right foot. Float your left heel up and step back into a lunge. And find your twist here in your lunge. Whether your elbow's to your knee or your hand is to your knee. And then we'll cartwheel ourselves open into warrior two. So ground your left heels, unwind your upper body. Adjust your feet as you need to find your warrior two. And then straighten that right leg. Parallel your feet. Bring your heels in and your toes out and sit down into a goddess squat. Just bring your hands to your thighs. You can let your shoulders creep up towards your ears. And then resist. One hand into your thigh as you drop that shoulder. And then come back through center and switch sides. And just go back and forth here. Once you feel even on both sides, come upright. Parallel your feet. Maybe even turn your toes in slightly, so outer edges of your feet, parallel with the short edges of your mat. Hinge at your hips to fold forward, and then soften your knees a little bit when you come halfway. Really send your inner groin back, lengthen out through the crown of your head. And then maybe fold a little further. Bring the hands to the floor or blocks, ankles. You can reach them back through your legs toward that floor. Rock a little bit of weight into the balls of your feet. Lift your toes. And send your inner groin back. Spread through your sitting bones. And just take one more round of breath. Walk your hands forward. And then just walk your hands to the left. Turn all your toes to the left. And then step to your left in a standing forward fold. And just bow. Bend into your knees and come up into your chair on the other side. So feet are about sitting bone distance apart, but your knees stay tracking that width. Don't let your knees knock together. Right hand outside of your left knee, left hand to your sacrum, or right elbow outside your left knee, and hands together. And just find your twist. Resist that left knee into your right hand or elbow. Look down at your left foot. Float your right heel up off the floor, and then step your right foot back into your high lunge and find your twist here. And then we'll unwind ourselves into warrior two. Ground that right heel. Adjust your feet. Spread your arms wide. And then straighten your left leg. Parallel your feet, heels in, toes out, and sit. Bring your left forearm to your left thigh and sweep your right arm alongside your ear. And then just switch to the other side. Just swim that right forearm to your right thigh, left arm alongside your ear. And just swim back and forth here. And do one more. And then come all the way up to standing with straight legs. Parallel your feet. Bring your hands to your hips and draw your elbows toward each other. Send your inner thighs back as you hinge at your hips. Lead with your heart to come halfway forward. And then lengthen out through the crown of your head. So think of one long line from your tailbone out through the crown of your head. Lift your toes and then feel like you're pulling your feet away from each other. And rotate your inner thighs back and let yourself fold. You can release your toes to the floor. And you can play with that activation in your legs of pushing your feet away from each other and then feeling like you're drawing them toward each other. And just notice what happens in your hips, your legs, there. The activation through your core. And then see if you can find a place of equilibrium where it really feels supportive for you, but also allows you to surrender and stretch. And take one more round of breath there. And just walk your hands over to your right. Lift your left heel. Just step back into one last downward facing dog for this practice. And bring your knees to the floor. Cross your ankles behind you. Bring your hips to the floor. Lengthen your legs out in front of you. And just take a few little kind of choo-choo train walks forward. So just shift your left leg and hip forward, your right leg and hip forward, till you really feel your sitting bones grounded on the floor. You can bend your knees as much as you need to so that your spine can be upright, and let yourself fold over your legs. So come forward as far as you can with a flat back. And then when you get to your edge there, you can let your spine round. Okay. So don't yank yourself. Like once you get to your edge with a flat spine, a straight spine, then you round. Don't yank yourself into a further fold from there. Let your fold deepen from your flat back, and then you can let yourself round. I like to stay active through my feet. Rotate inner thighs toward the floor. Lengthen your heart forward. Soften your face. Right, our lives cycle through these periods of intense activity and then times to reset. Right? We're just emerging into spring, right? But the earth had the winter to reset. Right? These cycles happen throughout our day, in our weeks, in our months, in our years. We're just made of these cycles. And sometimes that period of intensity burns out what we don't need and gives us more space. Bend your knees and just scoot yourself to the middle of your mat. Come onto your back. We'll find a round of bridge here. So set your feet up a comfortable distance away from your hips, maybe even a little wider than your hips. Press into your heels, lift your hips up off the floor. And then pause and just see, what is it that my body needs here? Do you need to adjust your shoulder blades? Do you need to maybe clasp hands underneath you or grab the outer edges of your mat? Just grounding your triceps and letting your fingers point toward the sky help. So you've got like that 90-degree bend in your elbows. See if you can lengthen your tailbone toward your knees. And find some weight on the inner edges of your feet. Find some space in your heart and length in the back of your neck. You've got space between your neck and the floor. And just enjoy some heart expanding breath here. And slowly make your way down to the floor. See if you can come one vertebrae at a time. Really use that deep core to get your lower back down. And then take your feet as wide as your mat. Just windshield wiper legs from side to side. You can take your arms out to a T. Really drop your right knee toward your left heel. And then drop your left knee toward your right heel. When you come back through center, just pause with your knees over to the left. And you can stack your left heel on top of your right knee. And just find a nice big open twist here. You could even take your right arm up alongside your ear. And think of lengthening that whole right chain. And then release your left heel off of your knee and then just windshield wiper to the other side. So your left knee will drop toward your right heel, and then you can stack your right heel on top of your left knee. Maybe reach left arm alongside your ear. Your arm's just still on the floor, but you're just kind of along that whole left side. And then release back to center. Find any last movements you need. So maybe just a hug of knees into your chest, a happy baby pose. Do something to set your spine symmetrically, so you're symmetrical from one side to the other, and then make your way onto your back for a few breaths in Shavasana. How are we doing on time? And let this be like a really efficient relaxation. Inhale through your nose. And then exhale with a long sigh through your mouth. Feel that settle you down. And do that 2 or 3 more times. And then just let your breath breathe itself. Just feel your body alive and relaxed. You can stay here for as long as you have time. When you're ready, you can bend your knees, roll to your favorite side, use your upper arm as a pillow, and just rest on your side for a breath or two. And then use your arm strength to come up to seated. And take a chance there just to find that inner smile, that sense of light that really is always yours. The divine light in me honors the divine light in you. Namaste. Have a beautiful day. And thank you.